Well, it's the month of love where many men will go on their knees and ask their loved ones, except for Tieti. They love to marry them. Sorry, Tieti. Some have weddings planned for Valentine's Day. They really do. At this point of a relationship, couples have already taken the time to get to know each other, their strengths, their weaknesses, what makes them happy, what makes them sad, what they like to eat, what they don't like to eat. You know, all of that stuff. But the real question is how well you actually know your future spouse's financial habits, especially if you plan to marry without a prenuptial contract. How much debt do they have? Do they service that debt well on a monthly basis? Do they save? Have you seen their credit bureau records? Are they blacklisted? Are they under debt review? Do they max out their credit cards every single month? As unromantic as these questions are, they are an important aspect of any relationship, believe it or not. We discuss these questions and other issues with Salem Nolubabalo, who's with us here in studio, and she's the Public Relations Manager from the Credit Ombuds office. Good to have you. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you for having me.
So, I mean, this is a very unromantic conversation we're about to have.
Especially today.
It really is. But although it is probably one of the most vital questions to have, because as you and I were discussing off air, you know, it's all wonderful and fun and games and butterflies and lightheadedness when you're in love. But as soon as you're married and the finances come into it, it's a different story altogether.
Correct. And we actually advise that couples should discuss this before even getting to that point where they're saying, I do. Because, I mean, now comes a time when you're married, you guys need to buy a new house, and then boom, you are declined credit.
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, you want to go and check what's happening. Who's the problem? Where's the problem? How do we fix it? And we find that most people, I mean, we have over 24 million credit active consumers in South Africa. But the stats are so shocking that less than 1% actually exercise their right to actually get their free credit report.
That's amazing.
And I mean, your credit report will give you a reference or a record of what debt you have, how much it is, how much you are paying on a monthly basis, how you are paying it every single month.
So I can get my debt report.
Yes.
But am I able to, if I'm about to marry whoever it is I'm about to marry, can I request their credit report?
Only if they consent to it.
Okay, so I've got to get their consent to request that report.
Yes, but we're encouraging couples to be open about this.
Right.
Understand each other, because you might find that the one person, your future spouse, is living debt to debt. Every month, they're just accumulating debt to actually keep a certain kind of lifestyle. Yeah. And you don't know this. You're just charmed by this person that you see that dresses well, drives a nice car, lives in a nice apartment, but you don't know how they fund that lifestyle. Yeah. And I mean, over-indebtedness can choke any marriage.
It absolutely can. And I mean, I like what you say, because when, you know, you fall in love with somebody for the way that they treat you. You fall in love with the way somebody looks. And also if they're spoiling you and they're bringing you these flowers and gifts, and they're spoiling you all of the time, and everything is so wonderful. You're thinking, this guy is just he's too good to be true.
He's the it.
And if he is too good to be true, perhaps he is too good to be true. How do you broach the subject? Why do couples stay away from the subject of finances?
I think it's generally the culture, Leanne. We generally don't talk about finances and debt. It's a culture that we as South Africans have adopted. We see it in the stats as well when it comes to people actually viewing their credit profiles. I mean, even our families, most of the time, or some of the times, the debt that we incur, sometimes it's to help out a family member. It's to take out a car finance for a spouse. But the culture, we just need to break that culture and start being open and understand that there are no ulterior motives. When your spouse wants to understand what's happening in your bank statement, what does your pay slip look like, what does your credit profile look like, it's all to understand that we are now getting into a union, and how are we going to work things out going forward in this marriage. Children are going to come. Responsibilities are coming. Who is going to do what?
You know, we live in a country, however, where we have so many cultures and cultures, rituals, all of these have an effect on marriage. I mean, let's talk about lobola.
Yes.
You know, that comes into the equation.
True.
And, you know, you'll have people ask for a hand in marriage, you know, and that's how you pay in lobola. But that, I suppose, is that another conversation? Is it another way of looking at things?
It is, because that lobola money, did he save up for it? Or did he go out and take a personal loan?
Yeah.
Did he max out his credit card? And then does that then mean when you guys are married, you are now both paying back that lobola money? Because now when you are together, you are jointly looking after the household finances, irrespective of what kind of contract you guys have. Point is, you are living with this person. There is this debt hanging over you. And yes, the question really is, how is he going to actually pay that lobola?
Yeah, it's a good thing to look at, and I think that can really give you a great and better perspective of your loved one. Just a final question as we wrap up the interview. We began the interview, I don't know if we spoke about it off air or on air, that's why I hate having a conversation off air. But we were talking about, you know, signing contracts before you get married. Yes, it helps, and no, it doesn't help. As at the same time, just explain that to viewers as well.
All right, so the contract would really affect a couple or a married couple when they get divorced, because it's all about how do we split assets, how do we split debt when we actually get divorced. But the reality is, even if, for example, you have this contract that you have out of community of property, for example, you are still living with this person. You are still servicing whatever debt. If this person is blacklisted, for example, you are the one that probably will need to go and purchase that house on your name, so to speak.
Yeah.
So irrespective of the contract, point is, when you're in this marriage relationship, you do need to understand what kind of debt do they have and what their financial habits are in order to live.
Great advice, it really is. Salem Jafta, thank you. Thank you so much for talking to us here on the program, talking about that all-important conversation about your credit rating and your finances before you get married. All right, let's take a break here on the program. We'll see you after this. Thank you so much.
Thank
you. Salem, it was awesome.